Hey guys, we're gonna go ahead and hop into some daily guild wars. See who we get for battle today. Looks like we're actually going up against Kalos. That is our um, other guild within our alliance. At this point in the game, they're probably, I'd say, one of the better guild war defenses out there. So this should actually be kind of fun hitting these guys. What we typically try to do is provide a little bit of feedback to them, and if we can help them with defense as far as improvements or showing them video replays, typically try to do that. So this will actually probably be a treat for you guys watching too. Going ahead and getting some competitive matches in here. So we'll probably start out with one of the +3s. I usually do a +3, a +2, and a +1 to go ahead and get my 6, which for anyone that's watching that's new to Guild Wars or unfamiliar, that's typically the easiest way to go ahead and stay uniform as far as your guild contributions and getting your deluxe shards. That'll usually give everyone in the guild an even amount of shards. That way no one single member gets more than others. So we'll probably, just for the challenge, I'll probably hit the harder accounts. This one's got a light vampire hunter and a light sniper. Take a look, and I'll probably work backwards and maybe hit that one last, just so I don't lose my units right off my first battle. So out of the +2s, let's see. We'll probably hit Izzy on the +2, so another light vampire hunter and a light sniper. Wow, 2 snipers on that. That'll be an interesting little battle. And then for the +1s, probably go ahead and hit Subslayer since he's got a Dark Diva and a Sniper Vampire right here. Actually, all 3 of these battles are going to be kind of tough, but we'll just start with the +1 and then work backwards. This matchup, I don't think I've ever faced a Nature AA, a Dark Vampire, and a Fire Sniper. Typically a Fire Sniper doesn't go into composition like this. Having said that, I'm actually interested to see what will happen here. So they've got two damage units, which means I'm going to probably need a lot of firepower to counter that. I'm going to go with a lineup that I like a lot with my Dark Diva, and I'm going to bring a Light Greater Demon, mostly to hard counter that. Fire Snipers still with a mark, they're going to actually kill a lot of this. Even water units, they seem to power right through them sometimes. So we'll do this and see how it goes. Against my second lineup, I want to bring a lot of shielding. She does have ignored defense, so I'm going to bring 1 shielder. And then my damage dealing unit is going to be my light sniper, and I believe the B also has a shield. Yeah, so it also raises defense. So we're going to try to go defense heavy and then have a good damage dealer. So we'll see how this goes. For synergy, cooldown reduction. Cooldown reduction is always probably your #1 synergy you want to take. And down here in this lineup, I could either go max HP, or I could go defense for light champions. I typically take max HP in this lineup. Alright, so to get started on here, this is something I preach to experienced or new people taking Guild War matches. It's actually the start with a half speed. So all this does is help you get immediate control of what's going to go on, because these are pretty quick and you only have 9 lives, so you can lose lives pretty quick. So I'm going to start with Magic Girl. I'll pop her ult, I'm going to turn on auto attacks, and I'm going to switch to my Diva. And other thing I always do, I pull the damage dealer just straight to the back line. That way their damage dealers are trying to actually do damage to my tank or to a support, and then I try to take my tank over there to their side of the base, and that's so when these guys respawn from dying, they start attacking the tank instead of attacking my backline damage dealer. It's a pretty simple strategy, but strategizing, and look, I still lost my Dark Diva on that, so you can see how quick that happens in full speed. So this match right here, this is another pretty interesting lineup, just because I don't see a lot of people use light AAs anymore, even though it's actually a pretty good unit if you use it right, and this lineup is probably not a bad choice for a light AA. I like to go ahead and pop my immunity and then retreat. Really got to watch out for the Dark Diva ultimate. I think it's actually pretty strong, and it does AoE damage, so it can kill pretty quick. Now what we're going to do is probably just focus the Diva the whole time. I could switch to the Magic Girl while her invulnerability's up. But with switching and everything, it sometimes reduces that downtime where when my sniper's autoing, it can kill a lot of champions in one shot, so I usually just put it right back on the squishiest unit on their team. Like right now, I'm trying to kill that AA, and you can see that really did nothing. But my sniper is taking damage there. Went ahead and pulled that back some, just so it's not going to die. And we should be able to go ahead and get this last kill on the Diva. Yep. So we lost our light B on that lineup. We lost our light B, and then we lost the damage dealing unit there. This is why I kind of looked at the lineups beforehand, and I would typically hit the easier lineups first and then work my way back and make my hardest lineup the last lineup that I hit. And that's for these reasons. Not everyone has a deep champ box, and if you lost like a Dark Diva and that's your only damage dealer, it's going to make the rest of your matches a little harder. There's the output there. So now we'll go ahead and do our second match. I think we said we were going to hit Izzy. The other thing I said, I was going to do the easiest matchups first and might work my way back to the hardest. That in no terms was, I guess, quote unquote easy. As you saw, I lost 2 units there, so against Kalos, they've actually got some really good members, so an easy matchup here is still going to be a really hard matchup. This is pretty interesting. We're going to probably bring our light sniper to that, and that's because she's element neutral to that. A lot of times I would use a vampire hunter, my nature one, but with that being a fire sniper, that's probably not a good idea. So we're gonna go ahead and run this lineup on top. For this bottom lineup though, that's where we're gonna go ahead and bring the Vampire Hunter. And we're gonna bring a Nature Bee for the crowd control. Hopefully that'll go ahead and keep some of these guys stun locked, not letting them do as much damage, because there's a lot of respawn damage here. So go ahead and hop into this and see what happens. I've got a pretty good idea that I'll most likely win this match. We'll just see what I lose in turn. Again, half speed. I'm gonna go ahead and pop her ult, get to our sniper, and run that thing back. We went ahead and got both of their snipers down pretty quick, so now we need to get our greater demon into their base before I lose a lot of my sniper. Wow, this is actually pretty interesting. So I killed their sniper, but I lost mine. I should have probably kept that on half speed a little longer. You can see how quick that damage happens, and I lost my light sniper in that match. For this one, we're gonna go half speed. We're gonna pop immunity to start, and see what kind of damage happens here. This is actually a really good Guild War defense. The light Vampire Hunter does a crap load of damage when it respawns off its ult. So if you've got anything close to the enemy spawn on here, he's got a chance of one-shotting absolutely everything. So you got to be really careful and aware of your positioning against one of these things. Nice thing about it though is they're usually pretty weak. I would typically pair a different healer. I'd probably bring a Nature Bee on my Guild War defense, just to produce a lot of crowd control to allow the light Vampire Hunter to live a little longer. Regardless, this is still actually a pretty good defense. So all of our units survived that time. This is a pretty tanky lineup, and it was able to survive without losing a unit. But you can see here we lost our light sniper. I don't think I've ever seen this lineup, so I think that's a first for me facing that. Here's our damage charts. As you can see, the top lineup, there was way less damage because he had two snipers versus this lineup that had a healer and a tank. So now, my plan was to hit Ugly Finder last. Lost two of my damage dealers, so we'll see if I've got a good enough team to actually be able to hit these. This bottom lineup, I would typically take my light sniper into that, and this top lineup, I would take the Vampire Hunter there. I could maybe try a Dark Vampire here. It'd probably lose, so it's more of a risk on this second lineup. I'm fairly confident I can beat that one, but this bottom one is a question mark. So now what I'm gonna do, because that's probably one of the harder defenses in the guild, I'm gonna probably change who I'm gonna hit here and see if I can get one where I'm able to potentially beat both the lineups. So let's see, we're looking at Yvette, AA, Nature DM, and a Water Sniper, then a Light Vampire Hunter. So that lineup looks pretty tough. I think it's beatable, but it's going to be tankier than the last Light Vampire Hunter we faced. This lineup, I don't really care for it because there's too many nature units that can just smash this. So we're going to actually go ahead and do that. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and just bring maybe a team that most people have. We're going to use Rhoda as our damage dealer. She's she's probably one of the best 3-star units in the game. And she's good at the early point, the mid point, and end game. So this is a unit that you want to invest really good gear in. And if you don't have a lot of nat 5s and stuff like I do or some other players do, there's plenty of free-to-play units that will actually get you pretty far in the game. We'll use that for this lineup and show it. One thing you do have to be careful of in this lineup is the Nature DM. The ults and everything are really strong. So you do kind of have to be aware of that, even though it is pretty easily countered. We're going to pop our stun just so when the gravity pull happens, he's already stunning, and hopefully he stuns the other units. I'm always curious to see how people have units built. They could potentially have like the Deathmonger on all tank gear. So when you think, oh yeah, that's an easy target to hit, it could be built a different way, and more or less they're just trying to fake you out. I don't think that's the case in this instance though. So the traps and everything, they get pretty annoying because if you're in a trap and there's no enemies within your attack range, your unit's just going to kind of stand there, like what my Rhoda just did. Okay, so it looks like we hit that pretty easy. So against her this time, we're going to start in half speed. We're going to start on our Nature Vampire Hunter, and we're going to just ult, and hopefully our ult comes before they hit their shield and her toughness. A lot of people tend to just hit auto and literally watch Guild Wars rather than taking control of the units. You got a way better chance to be successful when you actually control the units here in the game. Yeah, this lineup is definitely going to be a lot tankier. I think we'll still end up beating it. I've got my second Nature Bee, which isn't as well geared as my first one in here also. So the Light Vampire Hunter can do a lot of damage, but I'm hoping that we can actually beat it. Another thing too for you guys, I'm going to link a link to the Dungeon Hunter Champions Discord channel. For anyone that's new or not part of Discord, it's a good place to join and ask questions and get feedback on champions, builds, gears. The community manager will also post event information for events that are happening in the game. I would encourage anyone who actually watches these videos that isn't part of Discord to join up. It's a good community overall, and everyone tends to share a lot of good information there, and it's good for end-game and beginning game players. I'm also going to link in the video a link to my Twitch account. I do stream from time to time. It's something that I just started recently. If you guys got any kind of questions or need help with gear or team compositions, I'm always around to help. Yeah, it looks like we only lost our Nature AA and the B one time, so that's pretty good. That lineup was really tanky though, so if people don't know how to actually build to counter this, I could see this actually winning a lot of matches. This one, it just, against some guilds, this could win. Against most endgame or experienced Guild War players, this probably isn't going to win a lot, and that's just because a water and a nature unit together are just very easily countered, and that's just because so many people have a lot of nature champs. So that's the end of Guild Wars for the day. Tomorrow morning we'll have another matchup. Looks like everyone's doing pretty good so far. Only got a little bit left to go ahead and get this win. Go ahead and check the rankings. So it looks like our guild's in first place. Ultimate is behind, but they could catch up, just depending on how they do well against us. It looks like a lot of other guilds are kind of chasing up to a ladder. I know a lot of people in the game just don't play Guild Wars, but it's actually a pretty good thing to be a part of, and it's because you get these at the end of the week. And the deluxe shards, they are one of the better summoning currency in the game. And here's why. So we're gonna look next week's champion rotation. There's a Dark Diva that you've got a chance to summon, and you do that by collecting deluxe shards, and the most you can get is from Guild Wars. So I encourage everyone to do Guild Wars. If you're in a lower level guild or an end game guild, get in Guild Wars. It's the easiest way to get some of the really good champions. Thanks guys, we'll see you later.